Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and since it's Women's History Month, I'm here today to talk to you about The Amanda Show. This was one of my favorite sketch comedy slash variety shows of like the early 2000s. It starred the amazing Amanda Bynes, who is one of my favorite Nickelodeon stars. This show was hilarious. It came out in 1999 and it ended in 2002, lasting for 3 seasons. And the show was on Nickelodeon. It starred that of Amanda Bynes, Nancy Sullivan, John Kaser, Raquel Lee, and Josh Peck, and Drake Bell. Lord have mercy. It was a spin-off show of a show called All That. I've never seen All That. That was back in the days when I didn't have cable. But this show led to some of the most successful Nickelodeon shows, being that of Drake and Josh, that starred Drake Bell, Josh Peck, and Nancy Sullivan. And of course, it had Miranda Cosgrove. I can't say her name today. Miranda Cosgrove. And so like that of course led to iCarly, where Miranda got her own show, and then Jeanette McCready got her own spin-off show of Sam and Cat. And you know, it just led from one thing to another. And if it wasn't for All That being a success and the Amanda Show being a success, then those shows would have never have happened. Now, I'm not gonna name the creator of the shows because he's scum, and I don't like scum. Yes, Drake Bell has done some bad things, but the other dude who created the show is a million times worse. And so, like, variety shows and sketch comedy shows were huge in the 70s and stuff. And, you know, SNL is one of the biggest sketch comedy shows ever, then being like Mad TV, In Living Color, the John Leguizamo show. I forgot what his show was called. I know there was like, it's In Living Color, and there was another one. I can't remember the name of it. And of course, there were tons of variety shows. And variety shows had like a plethora of like, you know, main stars that made it really huge later on. You had things like the Brady Bunch show. You had like the Sonny and Cher show. And, you know, the Donnie and Marie show. But, you know, you also had those female-led shows like the Mary Tyler Moore Show, Golden Girls, Murphy Brown, I Love Lucy, That Girl, Julia, and the Carol Burnett Show. And the cool thing about the Amanda Show was that Amanda Bynes was the youngest female star to have her own variety show. In fact, I still think till this day, she is the only female actress, child actress and stuff, who had her own. Most of the time it's like a group ensemble. The show will always start off with some type of like cold opening, like a really funny gag and stuff like that. Then they hit with the Amanda intro. I used to love the Amanda intro because of course you just get to see Amanda Bynes. So then she runs out on her stage, and her stage was so colorful. And so like, you know, she'll be like, my name's Amanda, and she'll say something like really hilarious, and then she may or may not interact with like the audience, or one of her co-stars will come out, and her audience was always filled with kids, teens, and adult parents and stuff. And then she'll be all like, stick around, we have like stick around the show, we have a bunch of new stuff. Like she'll always say like, you know, that phrase. And then it'll go into like a different segment, and some of the segments will be like Totally Cal. Cal's kind of like this surfer boy hippie dude, always with a guitar, bleached blonde hair, and he'd be like, I'm totally Cal, like totally, and everything. And he was just kind of like this brain dead like dude, and he was just like always so hilarious. The girls room, which is always my favorite segment. It's like think of Mean Girls, but they just stay in the bathroom. So it's like Amanda and these two other girls, and they will always be in the bathroom talking about like, you know, Mean Girls stuff, and be inviting people in the girls room, and they always say the girls room. and everything. And they'll make them do like the most embarrassing, mean stuff ever. The one girl who was black, she was like the mean one, like the bodyguard type girl who would like throw people out. And then the blonde one, the white girl, she will always have a catchphrase, be like, "Oh, for the love of Tennessee, can we get this show on the road?" In the most countryest voice ever. There was this one foreign family, and I forget, it was like a Blockbuster type gag where like people would get pissed. This is back in the VHS days, and they all be all like, "You sold me a fake bootleg copy of a movie that's not even really the movie. It's just you and your family in acting out all the scenes." And it would literally be the family trying to act as best as they can to whatever movie it was, and it was most the god awful thing you ever saw. Then there were the luckless family and everything. Basically, it's the family where bad luck always follows them. They go to like a baseball game and a ball hits them in the face, or just something strange and unusual. The hillbilly moment section was funny. It was Amanda and Drake coming all out as hillbillies. All things. And so like she'll be all like, "Knock knock," and he was like, "Who there?" And she like hit you in the head with whatever object she'll have at that time, and then she'll just whack them in the head, and then they'll just like chuckle. There'll be other segments where it'd be like Judge Trudy. I don't think she called herself Trudy. I think she called Judge Rudy or something like that. And basically it was a parody of Judge Trudy, and she would just like be the most like off the wall judge you ever see, being as rude as possible and stuff. Now I do remember one soap opera type segment. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like you know how SNL has the Californians and stuff like that, but theirs was kind of like a Dawson Creek type thing. I forget the name of it. Anyways, in between segments, you'll have her just like dancing to her theme song, like "Amanda, Amanda, Amanda," like, and so it would be like that intercutting scenes, and then like, you know, you would have like the dancing lobsters at times, which were these two giant people in mascot costumes. You would have Amanda Jacuzzi, where she would either have like a famous person or like a famous person from back in the day that's like died and stuff like that in her jacuzzi. And you know, she'd be like, "Oh, how about we finish this off with a plate of spaghetti," or something like that. And so they'll start eating spaghetti and like all kind of weird, crazy, goofy stuff. And she played tons of different characters, like this one redhead that looked like Orphan Annie, who will always prank phone call this one dude, and he will always fall for it. I remember there was one segment about these old people behaving badly, where it's like, you know, she'll be like a news reporter person documenting like all these old people going on a rampage and stuff, and then all of a sudden they'll start attacking her. Now, her most famous character she ever played was Penelope. Penelope was this dorky girl with long black hair, glasses, talked in a high-pitched voice, and always would end the sentence with the word "please." And she would always be all like, "I want to see Amanda, please. I'm her #1 fan, please." And she was like this obsessed stalker and everything, who will always want to see Amanda, but never was able to. And of course, because she was played by Amanda herself. And I think one time they almost made it possible for her to meet her, but she got like stampled on by like a bunch of people or something like that. And then at one point she had like this little assistant who looked similar to her. And so the thing about Penelope is that since she's her #1 fan, she created a fan page for the Amanda Show, and it was called AmandaPlease.com. And this used to be a real website you used to be able to go to. I don't know if it's still active today or not. So yeah, this lasted for like 3 seasons, and it truly showed just how talented Amanda Bynes is. And after this I don't know why I got canceled, to tell you the truth, but she went on after that to make like a bunch of teen movies, and they were all popular. And then she went on to like, you know, have a show on the WB. And then after that, she did some more movies. And sadly, the last movie she did was Easy A back in 2010, because Amanda Bynes sadly, you know, suffers from mental illness and stuff. And it was one of the most tragic things to see because people just loved her to death and grew up with her and stuff on TV. And then she got better, only to sadly recently relapse again. And mental illness is something you really should get like a check on. And I really feel bad for these young stars, you know, because, you know, not her, but like in particular, but like other young stars who be on these Disney and Nickelodeon shows and they're making all this money. And then when the show ends, they're left with like no guidance, and then their roles dry up, and then they're no longer on TV and they act out. Now, after her Nickelodeon show, she still acted after that, but like with these other like stars, it makes you wonder what they go through when all of a sudden the fame ends. You know what I'm saying? Because one minute you was in everybody's living room, and then now all of a sudden you're not. You know what I'm saying? And I feel really bad for these former kids, 'cause they always end up doing something that they regret later on in life, you know? And so I really, really, really hope that she gets her act together, because people just love her to death. I mean, she's Amanda Bynes, for crying out loud. Like, generations of people grew up with her, you know? And you can still watch this show on Paramount Plus. They still have DVDs of this in volumes, and you can get them on like Amazon. And some of them are still brand new. Some of them are a little too pricey, but some of them are right down a pretty good like price range and stuff. I don't know if every season is out or not, because I never knew it was on DVD until now. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.